What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Tuesday, everyone. How to literally lose, how to literally lose 3 to 5 pounds in the month of May. It's been a while since I've talked about kind of like a step-by-step of how to actually do that. This is something that I'm sure a lot of you probably would like to achieve. So we're gonna just break it down. We're just gonna talk about how you can lose 3 to 5 pounds this month for summer. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So as you guys are tuning in, like I said, feel free to say hi, drop a like, say hello. Let me know how your day is going. We're going to get this thing kicked off. If you're watching this a later time, hashtag replay so I know that you saw it. And feel free to give this video a like. Helps other people see it with the algorithm. So we're going to just do a breakdown, real quick breakdown, how to lose 3 to 5 pounds this month for summer. Could be more too. You may lose more depending on where you're at in your journey based on what I'm about to tell you. Typically, the heavier you are, the more overweight that you are, the more that you can lose, especially initially, and it still be considered sustainable and okay. But yeah, we're going to talk about that because vast majority of people are thinking, oh shit, summer's right around the how's it going? So if you want to lose weight and get in shape for summer, you probably should have started a couple months ago. But I'm gonna help you give you the best bet or the best chance to get closer to your goals coming into the summer. The warmer months are here, so let's talk about it. So here is a step-by-step guide to lose this 3 to 5 pounds for summer. You need to do three things, right? You need to do a lot of things, but there's these are the three main things that are going to move the needle forward towards your goals. So one, right? And I want to emphasize, right? If you're watching this right now, if you learn, because these are simple concepts to understand, right? They're simple concepts to understand. A lot of these things you may already know some of these things, but you need to make sure that you implement them, right? Because a lot of these things are easy to understand, right? But sometimes they're difficult to implement. And if you do struggle with implementing these things, and you have in the past, maybe you need accountability to actually do the things that you're supposed to do or to have guidance in that regard. And if that's the case, hi, I'd be happy to help you out or go look for a coach or somebody to help you out. Okay. Either way, feel free to send me a message after this if you're struggling with it still. So, yeah. But at the end of the day, implementation, right, or information without implementation is bullshit. It's useless. So if you don't do these things, they're not going to work. You're not going to get the results that you want to get. So step one, though, step one, weight loss happens from diet, right? Weight loss happens from diet. Step one is you need to figure out what your maintenance calories are, right? Not only do you need to figure out what your maintenance calories are, but then you need to put yourself in a sustainable calorie deficit, right? And it can take a week or two to actually figure out where your maintenance calories truly are. You can look things up on a calculator online. You can go to like TDEE calculator. You can go to some of those other calorie calculators online, and you can get a general idea of where you should be. But those aren't completely accurate. Those can be off by several hundred calories. A lot of times they go more restrictive than they probably should. Which isn't the most sustainable thing because then you're going to quit and you're going to gain the weight back, and we don't want that. So we want to go for sustainable. Below your maintenance, right? Anywhere from 200 to 500. Typically, I tell people not to go for 500. If you're somebody who has a history of like metabolic deficiencies, you got like insulin sensitivity or not sensitivity, resistance, you have thyroid issues, things like that, or PCOS, you may need to be more towards the 500 calorie deficit versus, being in the 2 to 300 to see similar results. So that's why I kind of have that range there. But try to keep your calories at the lowest amount, like your deficit at the lowest amount possible, while still seeing sustainable results of anywhere from half a pound to 2 pounds lost per week. That should be the goal. That is what is sustainable. That is what is going to be maintainable, and that's going to be what you can do to keep your progress long term, right? Because what is the whole fucking point of losing weight if you just gain it back, right? There's no point in that. This is a lot of wasted energy, time, mental, emotional bandwidth. Like, you don't want to do that shit. So let's keep it sustainable, right? The next thing I'll say, so being in a sustainable for a couple of weeks, see how your body responds, see how the weight's coming off. So that's part one, right? The abs are made in the kitchen, right? You cannot you literally cannot lose weight without being in a calorie deficit. This is essential. This is essential to your weight loss. If you do not do this, you are not going to lose weight. Straight up. You're not going to lose weight if you're not in a calorie deficit. I don't care what fucking person on TikTok or Instagram or whatever influencer said shit that they're trying to sell you these fancy pills and bullshit, or like a specific diet that they just happen to also sell supplements for in their body. Like, I don't care about any of that shit. They don't know what they're talking about. The only reason that the shit that they push works is because it puts you in a calorie deficit. It's literally the only way you can lose weight. Period. That's it, right? Some people may need to be in a steeper calorie deficit than others, right? But if you are not losing weight right now, you are not in a calorie deficit. You just aren't. Why you are not in a calorie deficit, that's where it gets kind of hazy, right? Maybe you're not as, maybe you're very, fairly inactive because you're in pain, or you're, really tired all the time, or maybe you're not getting good enough sleep, maybe, whatever it may be. And so your body's holding on to water in a weird way. Like, things like that can calorie deficit, right? And I don't care if you have PCOS. I don't care if you have a thyroid issue. I don't care if you are insulin resistant. That just means that you're probably going to need to be in a steeper calorie deficit than what somebody else would be at your same, high age. All these other factors. Like if somebody cloned you and they didn't have PCOS, or they didn't have insulin resistance, or they didn't have metabolic deficiencies, right? Like that person could be in less of a calorie deficit and still see, the same progress as you are seeing right now in a steeper calorie deficit. That's what it comes down to, right? So some of the things I'm going to talk about here in a minute are going to be helpful to help make sure that you're in a calorie deficit and that your body's set up to be in an optimal place for weight loss. But at the end of the day, you just can't lose weight without being in a calorie deficit. It sucks, but at the end of the day, that's the law of thermodynamics. Your body literally cannot create energy from nothing, right? It can't hold on to energy from nothing. Your body cannot maintain itself from when it's got less energy being put into it. It just can't. It won't maintain itself, right? There's a balance to it. So think about it that way. Your body's like a system, or like a robot or a machine that you're putting energy in or putting energy out of, right? So that's the first step. You have to be in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight, but a steady one, a sustainable one, right? Not one that's like drastic, like crash dieting, like I'm just going to eat like 800 calories or 1200 calories and starve myself and I'm gonna lose a bunch of quick weight really fast. Like you might, right? You might lose 5 or 10 pounds like in a couple of weeks. You can do that, but you're going to gain it all back because you can't maintain that shit. And if you can't maintain it, you're not going to sustain it. And you're just going to gain it all back and you'll be stressed out and you're going to be upset with yourself and you're going to quit. So don't do that shit to yourself. So that's the first part, right? Abs are made in the kitchen, body's built in the gym. That's right. That's right. I love it. That's so true. So that's the first part. Diet. I would prefer to say a nutrition plan, right? Everybody has a negative connotation associated with the word diet, but at the end of the day, being in a caloric deficit, you need to have that happen if you want to lose weight, okay? And you're only going to figure that out by tracking your food and tracking your calories, right? Tracking your food and tracking your calories. Learn about flexible dieting. What is super smart, dude? You're a super smart dude, and I appreciate you. So you training. No matter where you're at in your weight loss journey, strength training is such an important piece of the puzzle to looking and feeling how you want to look and feel when you reach your weight loss goal. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people who just, and again, I don't say this, I say this in an empathetic sense, like losing weight all willy nilly, right? It's losing weight is not easy, right? I'm not saying it is, but for those that lose weight without taking these things into consideration, right? Don't take these things into consideration. They're just losing weight and they're not paying attention to their nutrition, not paying attention to their macros, not paying attention, they're not strength training. Like you're going to lose a lot of weight, right? You're going to lose a lot of weight, but your body composition is going to suffer because of it, because you're not getting enough protein in, you're not strength training properly. And so your body's, yeah, you're going to lose some fat, but you're going to lose a lot more muscle in the process than you otherwise would have. And what ends up happening is that, one, you feel like shit the whole time while you're doing it because you're losing a bunch of muscle. Two, your body's not going to have the look or you're not going to be strong. Your body's not going to have the look that you're probably going for, that aesthetically quite a bit if you're not doing these things. Strength training is super important for this. And strength training is going to, like I said, help you build muscle. It's going to help you recomp your body, going from a higher body fat percentage to a lower one with a higher lean body mass, which is what we want, right? For health and for strength, for confidence, for better energy and things like that, better performance in our day to day. Let's see, but that's the difference between losing weight and losing fat. Yeah, and so you're what you need to do when it comes to this though is not only is strength training going to help you with building muscle and recomping your body, you're also going to be burning some extra calories along the way. I'm going to admit, strength training does not burn that many calories compared to just being in a caloric deficit. But every bit helps, right? Every bit helps, and if you do it every day, that shit adds up. You can burn a couple hundred calories from a strength training session, and a couple hundred extra calories burned each day that you work out. That's going to add up over time. So making sure that you're doing your strength training workouts. I know what you're thinking is like, well, yeah, Austin, like you tell me to strength train. I don't know how the fuck to strength train. And so that's here. And so um, at the end of the day, too, one thing to keep in mind too is that the more lean body mass you have, the more like fucking muscle that you have, right? The higher your metabolism is going to be in general, right? Because your body needs calories to maintain that higher lean body mass. And so, the more muscle that you have, technically, the more food that you get to eat, which is great. Or the more calories that you can burn, which is great. So this is going to get your body in a really good place, metabolically speaking, over time. Strength training is kind of like the long play. It's the long play. It's going to help you feel good. You're going to feel better in the short term. You're going to feel stronger in the short term. It's another aspect of it is like you can see progress, and having that progress feels good. Like seeing yourself get stronger, that builds confidence. Seeing yourself change and shift in the mirror, over the course of and this isn't going to happen. And if you start strength training, you're probably not going to notice a big difference in the first 4 weeks, right? After 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, if you're strength training consistently, you're going to start to see some results in the mirror. You're going to be like, damn, like I'm starting to I'm getting some muscle. This is great. But just keep that in mind. You may not see it in the mirror, but you're going to feel it. Your body's going to start to change over time. Strength training is a slow play, but it helps tremendously when it comes to prioritizing fat loss and maintaining lean body mass and recomping your body long term. So, yeah, and so like I said, the higher your lean body mass is, the higher your metabolism is going to be, which is great. And then in terms of how to form your strength training plan, you should be strength training anywhere from 3 times a week minimum, right, up to 6 times a week, right? You need at least one rest day. That's super important. And with those workouts, they can be anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. You don't have to be in the gym for 2 hours a day. I'm not in the gym for 2 hours a day. I'm in the gym for 30 to 60 minutes, maybe an hour and 15 if I have a really big leg day or a really big back day or I'm hitting multiple things. But in general, 30 to 60 minutes is all you truly need. And so 3 to 6 times a week working out with hitting each muscle group, right? Like your triceps or your arms, like triceps, biceps, chest, shoulders, back, legs, those muscle groups. Hitting those anywhere from, and this is ideally 2 to 3 times per week for a total of 10 to 20 sets per muscle group. 10 and 10, right? If you hit legs twice a week, you do 10 sets of something for your legs and 10 sets of something on the other day, that equals 20, or doing 5 and 5, wherever you're at your current level of strength and fitness and what works best for your body. But 10 to 20 sets per week, total, right? That's what you want. And each of those sets need to be made up of anywhere from roughly 8, it could be 6 potentially, 8 to 15 reps per set, right? Depending on the muscle group, right? If you're hitting calves, you could hit 15, 20, even 25 reps, depending. You may not be doing a heavy enough, weight for progressive overload there, but you can get to there however you'd like. But anywhere from 8 to 12 or 8 to 15 reps per set is a good rule of thumb. So, depending on the exercise, like I said. So those are the first two. Those are the big 2 things. Nutrition, if you want to lose weight, nutrition, first and foremost, you have to do it. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Second, strength training is going to help a shit ton in regards to that. How you're going to feel, how you aesthetically speaking, if that's your goal. Those are 2 primary things that you need to be doing. Number 3, though, low-hanging fruit. Taking advantage of these low-hanging fruits that you can make a change right now in, right? Getting plenty of sleep. 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. If you're not getting adequate sleep, your body composition will suffer, your weight loss progress will suffer, and your body composition throughout this process is going to suffer too. Studies have shown that like if you don't get enough sleep, even if you're losing weight, your body will proportionally lose more weight from muscle than it will from fat if you don't get enough sleep, which is not good. We don't want that. We want our body. We want the opposite of that to happen. And the opposite of that is true. Like if you do get enough sleep, you will lose more weight from fat than you will from muscle, primarily. So keep that in mind. Getting enough sleep is also really important for mood, regulating mood, emotions, not making bad decisions that are not conducive to your goals, right? Like, overeating, eating, sugary, salty foods, like binge eating, those sorts of things are exacerbated by poor sleep, because we make worse decisions when when we feel like shit. So that's another thing. So getting enough, sleep is important. Also, that's when your body heals itself and repairs itself from your workouts. Like if you want to get, to make the most of your workouts, your body does not build muscle when you're awake and when you're in the gym. That's when your body's breaking itself down in order to be repaired and recovered while you're sleeping at night. So make sure that you get enough sleep. That's one low-hanging fruit. Two, get enough water in for the day so your body is functioning properly. Anywhere from half a gallon to a gallon a day. Like that's a good general rule of thumb. There's some equations you can look up online. There's no like one size fits all. Like this is the perfect amount of water that somebody should drink. There's just guidelines. Drink when you're thirsty, but if you're never thirsty, get some freaking water. And I know some people who literally are like, I haven't had a glass of water in like 2 months, and I'm fine. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's probably not good, but that's okay, right? That's okay. Now you can start getting your water in, because that's going to help a lot. And then also getting your steps in, getting enough steps in, because if you are not getting a good, like a normal level, a healthy level of activity in your day to day, anywhere from like 7 to 10K steps, so that way your net activity is high, right? Your net activity for earning those calories that you're supposed to be at, right? Based on what we talked about earlier, like figuring out what maintenance calories are. You need to take that into account, that you're getting enough steps in, that your activity is good enough for the day, is high enough for the day to essentially need those calories, right? So get anywhere from 7 to 10K steps a day is going to be really helpful in making sure that your body, that you are putting yourself in a place where you can lose weight effectively. So those are kind of my 3 steps. Those are my 3 tips. But if you do those things, if you do each of those things that I just talked about, if you do those, I promise you, if you do those things, you will lose weight. You'll lose anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds in this month. And in 4 weeks, you could lose 3 to 5 pounds, right? And I say that because the range can vary. Some people will, half a pound per week is amazing progress. Some people, 2 pounds a week, is amazing progress and is their kind of average. But again, it just depends on where you're at right now. If you have some of these metabolic deficiencies that I talked about, what and I want you guys to keep your progress. I don't want you guys to, stress yourselves out and try to lose a shit ton of weight all back or fail. Like if you can do this, if you can do these 3 things that I talked about today, you will lose weight and you will get further in making progress towards your goals for the summer. So hope that this was valuable. Let me know your number 1 takeaway in the comments down below. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you got value from this, feel free to say, or to give it a like. Feel free to drop your number 1 takeaway. Hashtag replay for watch a later time. And yeah, other than that, I'm hopping off here. But yeah, this is literally all you have to do in order to lose 3 to 5 pounds this month is be in a calorie deficit, track your calories, get enough protein in, work out, strength train 3 to 5 times a week, and do some of those low-hanging fruits that I talked about earlier. And you're going to be well on your way to making progress. So at the end of the day, though, it is easy to. These are simple concepts, right? These are simple concepts. Sometimes simple concepts are still difficult to implement because we've got a lot of shit going on in our lives. We've got certain, maybe special circumstances that are happening in our life right now that you may need help with. If that is the case, do not hesitate to send me a message. Do not hesitate to reach out. I would be happy to, try to, offer some tips. I'd be happy to try to help. If you're looking for a coach, what's up? How's it going? Would be happy to help in that regard as well. But other than that, have a good ass rest of your day. I'm signing off for now, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys.